Can start now.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Movement Labs Hackathon. This is the workshop series, and we're kicking it off with Jordan and Andy. Just to give you a basic background of the hackathon before we start, and I hand it over to Jordan and Andy again. Move is the first network of the modular Move-based blockchains, and you can deploy your Move infra in any of the distributed environments. To make things easy, they also have a unified code base, which hopefully Jordan and Andy can take some time and expand on it today. But the prize pool for the Movement Lab Hackathon is 35K USD, which is a combination of fiat and token rewards. There are going to be three main tracks for the hackathon, which is TradFi, well, I'm sorry, which is DeFi, which is DeFi, GameFi, and Infra. We kicked it off on June 4th, and the submission period would go on till July 10th. So you do have a month to yourself to build on Move, to get to know what movement labs these guys are doing, how you can transform your Dapp, how you can start your building journey. And on the way, we also have a couple of hackathons, a couple of workshops scheduled, which, as we all know, it's been a new environment. Movement labs guys came around. They've been shipping for a while. They've been working on it, and hopefully we're now super ready to bring it all to you and get you started on your building journey. This one is going to be a movement 101 kind of workshop, where it would be an introduction for you on how you can get started, how you can understand the code base more, and yeah, basically help you kickstart your building journey in this hackathon. With that, Jordan and Andy, I'll hand it over to you. Feel free to start now.
Yeah, how's it
And
going, everybody? Jordan.
before, I'm sorry, yeah, but just another thing before they start. Feel free to put any questions that you have in the chat, and we'll take it up either in breaks in between or towards the end of it. So yeah, go on, Jordan. I'm sorry.
No, you're absolutely fine. So, again, Jordan Bishop here with Movement Labs. I lead the blockchain advocacy here on behalf of Movement. I'm here accompanied with Andy G. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey everybody, I'm Andy Gole from Movement Labs. I've been doing DevRel as well as some engineering, helping teams deploy and working on developer tooling and just kind of triaging issues and things like that. And I'm really happy to help support hackers here for the hackathon.
Awesome. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and get started. Really, we'll be going over kind of high-level overview of what Movement Labs entails, and we'll also give you guys a walkthrough on Dapp's tutorial, and we'll do one in Aptos Move and the other one in Sui Move. They definitely both are very similar in syntax and functionality, but kind of very much went about it in different approaches, I would say, in regards to design. But we can kind of get a little bit more into that as we move on with the workshop. But to start off, we'll go into a little bit of like movement and what all it entails. So movement is a building a modular framework to build and deploy move-based infrastructures and application on any blockchain environment, right? That's kind of very much our mission, our motto here at Movement. And so Movement, we plan on being the first integrated blockchain network powered by the fastest and most secure layer 2 on Ethereum. So by bringing the Move VM to Ethereum through our novel Move EVM ZK layer 2 tech, we are creating a most secure and scalable developer-friendly blockchain infrastructure that combines the best aspects of modular and monolithic architectures with the speed and safety of the Move language itself. So with our Movement tech stack, it's essentially three components. We have M2, which is the first parallelized Move EVM layer 2 on Ethereum. It's essentially compatible or combining the speed and security, I would say, of the Move language, as well as having the backwards capability of existing EVM protocols. And we also have M1, which is essentially a fully decentralized and speed optimized shared sequencer. So M1 provides the Movement network with reliable uptime, optimized finality, and embedded interop. And it also has like the built-in formal verification as well, which essentially enables the sequencer to serve as a watchtower for any incoming attack vectors. And so we also have the third component, which is the move stack itself, which is essentially the execution layer framework. And this is essentially designed to scale the rollups on Ethereum, regardless of like what rollup framework or data availability layer that your network leverages. So overall, I'd say Movement like provides a flexible and versatile platform, enabling devs to build any type of application across various modulars and layers. So you essentially can choose like what language when using the EVM, for instance. You can essentially deploy like a Solidity contract over to the Move virtual machine through our MEVM is like a great example of that. So you can use different languages and switch between different features and integrate various aspects of developer stacks and kind of like Frankenstein, whatever, type of stack you'd like that would, essentially best fit your developer needs, I would say. And so that's kind of like a high level overview of what Movement Labs is all about. Definitely feel free to, scan this QR code. You can kind of fill it out, give us a little bit more of an idea of what project you guys are creating. And it also gives a great point of contact for us as well. And in case you can't scan this code here, I'll make sure to drop a link in the chat to where you guys can have full access to that. But now we can kind of go ahead and get into the actual Dapp deployment. Okay. Let's blow this up. Okay. Great. So basically this Dapp in itself is going to be like a chat room type of application. Pretty straightforward. Essentially, you can send messages back and forth on the blockchain. So we can start off here with the actual module, right? So you can access a certain module by its name. In this case, we're going to have it the chat name. We are initializing a bunch of libraries here. So if you're familiar with like the Rust syntax, it's very much similar to that derivative. We also initialize some const here. This is very much like Solidity and declaring different variables. We have a few structs, one being the chat room, one being the message. And essentially we have these abilities associated with each of these structs. These abilities essentially give more fine-grained access control. So it very much enables more of a security-centric. For instance, key and store both make the struct itself global, but the store essentially allows, for instance, here, you can essentially have this message stored inside of a chat room, right? So it gives a little bit more of that more granular capability there. Now, if we were to move on, I would say this chat room basically, let me scroll down a little more. Yeah, so we initially, we basically, give the address of who's sending this, basically saying, what the text is, when it was sent, the address it's referred to, and just having some metadata here. And we have an initializing function here. It kind of functions a little bit like a like constructor in Solidity, I would say. Pretty straightforward. It's essentially just created amongst or runs during deployment, I would say, of the module. But I would say in Move, we essentially say publishing a module. That's kind of like the verbiage. And we have a few like main functions. We have an entry function here. If you're familiar with like Solidity, you have like your public and internal entry type functions. So it's just essentially gives a little bit more security and visibility to what can and can't be accessed to different functionalities. And here we're just essentially just creating the actual chat room itself. Nothing too fancy. And we have like, this view function. And this is really where most of the chat room itself is being executed in this internal function here. And yeah, that's kind of like what we have kind of high level overall of what this code kind of consists of. Now I'm going to go ahead and go through the deployment process and initialize some things. So first we're going to basically go into the Aptos folder, and then we're going to initialize the project. It's going to say like choose what network you would like. And so we're going to go custom here. Now we have to essentially paste in the Movement Labs REST endpoint, which will be right there. We're just going to hit enter twice. And we just generated a key and an account. Okay. So if we're to look at what we just generated, we kind of look here in the YAML file here underneath Aptos. We essentially have a private key, public key. We have this REST URL as well. And essentially we have the language, network, as well as the chain here that we utilized. Nothing, too fancy, I would say. Now that we have everything running there, we're going to CD into the front end. Now that we've seen into the front end and got into that directory, we're going to install some packages. So we're just going to hit npm I for installing. Just going to take a sec. Okay, great. Now we're going to go ahead and run our front end, npm run dev. Should get a URL to the local host. So we're going to go ahead and redirect there. All right, so give me 2 seconds to pull that up for you guys. All right. Great. So this is what we got. So as you can see, just a very simple, chat box. So you can kind of just say, just say a little message. Oh, get it to my wallet. Hopefully I remember my password. Okay, perfect. All right, so you can just approve a transaction and then bam. Takes a little bit of a second, and then here you go. And essentially, you're just sending messages back and forth on the blockchain. I mean, very, very much a simple idea, right? I would say, I'll definitely kind of like pass it over to Andy, and he can kind of go over some of the nuances as far as the differences in like SUI and Move, high level, and kind of go over a little bit of that flow deployment. But yeah, this is kind of like a little very quick dApps that you guys can kind of continue to, look into and iterate over. Again, I'll make sure to drop like the repo in the chat so you guys can kind of have a more granular look at everything. But yeah, I'll go ahead and hand it off to you, Andy, whenever you're ready. You might want to unmute yourself there, man. Andy, I think you are still on mute.
Oh, sorry about that.
So,
yeah, just to show that if you wanted to deploy with SUI Move as well on Movement, yeah, you could. I won't go through the whole like deployment process because you kind of saw that it's a very similar process to what Jordan just demonstrated, but it's like the same type of interface that we designed, and you can see it in the same repository under SUI. And I opened the front end directory here because I just want to show you sort of how it's integrated. So you just do a network config with the URL of the endpoint, and it's just similar to similar to the Aptos app, with the different components and the the way it's wrapped is you have the query client provider, which is kind of like some React query tooling, wrapping the SWE client provider, which allows interaction with SWE network. And then that's wrapping the wallet provider, which allows that interface for connecting a wallet. And I have Razor Wallet right now is my wallet, which supports the SWE network, which is right now known as M2 DevNet on Movement. And so the contract itself is also really similar. We built it to be like two parallel dApps, one on Aptos Move and one on SWE Move. So I did the SWE one mostly, and Pramada, our fellow DevRel, did the Aptos one mostly, but we kind of just helped each other. And the main thing that I'd say is like unique about the SWE dApp is you have this way of like sharing the chat room object, which is a little bit unique with SWE because SWE tends to wrap everything as an object. Like if you publish a package, it's gonna have its own object ID, or it's called a package ID in that case. Whereas like on Aptos Move, that gets published to your address if you published it. So it's just a little bit different of an orientation, but the share object construct really is a little bit unique with SWE. So it's like on the Aptos contract where you'd go init module and you'd create a chat room and then move it to the publisher's address. In this case, you'd transfer share object, the chat room. So it says let room equals chat room, ID equal ID object new context. So it's like creating a new object, which is using the current transaction context. And the thing that it's doing by doing transfer share object is it's putting that object on the blockchain and making it so anyone can interact with it. So in this case, it's just saying like it's its own kind of sort of floating sort of object out there on the blockchain, and nobody owns it. It's just shared. Anyone can use it. And so that's a really unique feature of the SWE Move, but otherwise it's like really similar to the Aptos Move contract. It's, you get your messages, and then we also have this post with ref. So if you want to build on this, you could do it either with the SWE Move or Aptos Move. You could build a way to have replies or reposts or some way to give tips on a specific post if you want to transfer some kind of value to someone to show your appreciation for a post, or let your users do that in your dApp. Those are all examples of things you can do with either the SWE dApp or the Aptos dApp. So you can preview them here, and all the instructions are in the README. So we're also really happy to be available for chat. You can join the Movement Discord dev chat channel and ask questions. And we also have a builder chat on Telegram. If you ask someone on the team, we can add you to that, or like asking it around in dev chat. Anyone who's already in the group can add you. So we're growing a very thriving developer community, and this chat dApp example is like, I think a really good one, because any type of app that you build will probably have some kind of chat functionality. If it's, like a consumer app, there'll probably be, some way for like consumers to contact, and so a chat component could be really useful, and it's a good way to learn Move either on Aptos or SweetMove. So I hope that's a useful demonstration for everybody.
Yeah, then you can even, iterate even further on this chat component, right? Like you can even, incorporate anonymous chats, maybe even having some ZK implementation there if you'd like. The voting and polling would be super interesting type of integration, or even a way to send NFTs within the chat. Even trying to figure out some sort of subscription would be interesting, right? Like a subscription model to exclusive chats. So yeah, there's a few different really interesting, like, potential project ideas just coming out of a chatbot. Like, even though it is super simple, I mean, it's still a great way to not only learn Move, but can further iterate over. But
yeah, absolutely. Like you could have gated content, like something like, put the first few sentences or an image, or some benefits for some system that has been proven to work in customers, lives or businesses, and get them results, and then like have some gated, like, which is basically what like news outlets are doing, and like Medium is doing. They're kind of resorting to gated content, so it's like seeming to be a trend. So like this type of Dapp could be perfect for it, as far as just the being able to view a specific message in a convenient way, through the UI.
And I'm also sending some more links here that I figure you guys could, have much use for. One is like the repo. We also have a link there for a developer docs, just quick start guide, kind of gives you a good little flow on how to, not only giving information about what our tech stack is more in depth, but also just how to, kind of interact with it. And we also have more of a hands-on tutorial as well that Andy G actually created, which is the movement hack. And that's a little bit more of a practical demonstration on how like our tech stack works. I'm making sure to provide all these links. And then I'll also send some additional links here as well, about just the Move language in general, in case some people not as familiar. But even though, like, again, we are very much Move centric, I will say that you can also even do programming in Solidity, FYI. We do also have those functionalities there. Yeah, but I would say that's about it for you guys. If you have any questions or concerns, definitely feel free to reach out or throw in the chat.
I could throw in an example of the of deploying with Solidity. Maybe I could put that in the chat. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I found this video. So I just posted in the chat an example of deploying a Solidity contract on Movement using Foundry, which is a nice Rust-based framework for interacting with EVM chains.
Perfect. Great. Well, hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Again, definitely feel free to reach out if you guys have any questions, concerns. Definitely also don't mind, help, getting on some one-on-one calls or however, to kind of help encourage a little bit more, some different ideas. But yeah, just feel free to reach out. Definitely open DMs.
Thanks a lot, guys. And we've dropped all the chats, all the relevant links in the comment section. So, feel free to maybe come back over here if you've missed any part of the workshop. Feel free to just play it again at your own pace and revisit it. Apart from that, we also have mentioned the question and support Discord channel in the details page of the hackathon tab. So that's going to be your primary community resource. Feel free to go on over there, ask questions if you have any. If you have any ideas, feel free to throw it over there and connect with other hackers if you're willing to build in teams, meet other move developers and hackers. So yeah, that's going to be your Discord channel for the entire course of the hackathon. um, but yeah, thanks a lot, Jordan and Andy, for the time today and throwing in all the resources and showing us through. And yeah, if you have any question which is regarding submission of your project or which is regarding the platform using DoraHacks, feel free to reach out to me. I am at Mishika, Mishika 251 on Twitter and Telegram. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys, again, and good luck to everyone who's building in this hackathon. I wish you like a very good luck. Feel again, like I said, feel free to go through all the resources at your own pace. And thanks for the time again. Take care, everyone. Thanks,
See you
guys.
guys.